Hello viewers, this is Tutor James Organizer. In today's video we are going to continue with an example of a quadratic equation using factorization method. So we're going to solve quadratic equation using factorization method. So in my previous video I introduced the standard form for a quadratic equation. Okay, we introduced the standard form for a quadratic equation where we explained in detail on how to use this, and we even gave some examples just to help ourselves in order to solve quadratic equation. So in this video I'm going to do an example for a quadratic equation that you need to understand and know. Yes, so I'm going to have an example of a quadratic equation: x squared minus 5x plus 6 equals to 0. So if you can look very well here, it comes in that form. So you can see our a is nothing but 1, our b is nothing but -5, and our c is 6. In this case, when you're using factorization method, there are certain important things you're supposed to know before you even start solving, and these things are the product, okay, product, sum, and factors. Okay, so product, sum, and factors are the things you're supposed to know before you start solving any quadratic equation using factorization method. So how do we find the product in this case? So our product will be our a multiplied by c. Okay, our a multiplied by c, and our sum will be b. Okay, our sum will be b. Our product, as we said earlier, will be a there and c. That will be how we'll be finding a product. As you know that a product is a sum, is an answer that you get after multiplication. Okay, and for the sum is an answer that you get after addition. Very important to know that. Okay, so now we are going to find also the factors. So how do you find the factors? So factors, we are looking for the two numbers that when you add, okay, when we add those numbers, we'll have the sum, okay, which is our b. And when we have those two numbers multiplied together, we'll have our product. Okay, so this is where it becomes a little bit tricky, but with the help I'm going to simplify it in a simpler manner. Okay, so let's solve the question following this. Okay, so if you can check very well, our product, okay, start with our product there. Our product, we said it is a by c. So what is our a? A is 1 and our c is 6. This will give us 6 as our product. Okay, our sum in this case, it is -5. Okay, so we just get what you have where we have b here as our sum. So we're looking for those two numbers. When I add them, I'm going to have -5. So which numbers can we add? And when we multiply those two numbers, we'll have 6. So those numbers can only be -2 and -3. Okay, so when you check very well, -2 plus -3, it is -5. Again, -2, sorry, here it is multiplication. Okay, multiplied by -3, you're going to have +6. So these numbers are the one that now we take -2, -3, and the one that we're going to replace where we have the sum there. So in short, you're going to say x squared. Now where we have -5, we are no longer going to write -5, but we are going to write -2x plus -3x plus 6. Now when we check very well, here we just copied the same question, but we just substituted with what we have on -5 by putting -2x and -3. So when we add this, we still get back there. Okay, so let me just clean up my solution there. Okay, so I'm going to have something like that, because you know when we multiply positive and negative, we have a negative there. So I'm going to do this for me to solve properly. Okay, so I'm going to look for what is common between those two terms, x squared and -2x. When you check very well, what is common is x there. Okay, so when we factor out x into x squared, we are going to have x into -2x, we are going to have -2. And then what is common between that and that? When we factor out -3, we can see -3 is common between that and that. So -3 into -3x, we are going to have x. -3 into +6, we are going to have -2. Equals to 0, equals to 0, equals to 0. Don't forget to indicate that. Okay, when we reach here, okay, let me just clean up my space here so that we can have it done here. Okay, alright, so now when we reach at this stage, I call this stage as a testing stage, because this is where now you see whether what you're doing is correct or not. So whenever you reach at this stage, make sure that what you have there and there, they are one and the same thing. If not, check your work. You might have made a mistake somewhere. So when you reach at this stage, you get what is outside. I get what is outside, x and -3. Okay, x and -3. Put them in the bracket like that, and I get one of these. They're just same, so I just get x minus 2, put a bracket also, and I equate everything to 0. So I'll be equating this to 0 separately now. Okay, x minus 2 equals to 0. So you see very well here, when we jump that to the other part, I'll have 3 comma. When I'll jump this minus 2 to the other part, I'll just have positive 2. Basically, that's how we solve quadratic equation using factorization method. Remember, there are two methods we can use. In this video, I was just dealing with factorization method. In the other video, I'll be covering using the formula method. Thank you so much.